Yo, hello everyone. Um, Let me just see if everything's working properly. Hi. So yeah, we were on Y2 stream and something was wrong, and now we're over here. And oh, actually, I think you guys can't hear the game audio. Let me see if I can fix that.
Maybe we should start a bet in the channel.
Okay.
When is this stream actually gonna start?
I was on the wrong audio device, but I think you should be able to hear the game audio now.
We all good?
I actually think we're all good. In my headset, you're sounding a little bit low, so I'm gonna turn you up a little bit. Okay,
Yeah,
so
chat says they can hear game audio.
guys, how's my level? Am I too loud compared to the others, or just let me know if that's the case? And I think we're just gonna go get started. Y2, you can host the game since you have the replays ready.
Yep. Game is up
Yes.
now.
So the first game is gonna be Eskia versus Gooseheaded. He's been waiting for a very long time for us to.
No wait. If you wanna go do SQ, I'm gonna need to request.
Oh well, whichever one doesn't really matter. But yeah, that's the one that's at the top of my list. No, it's me talking Lucky Noob, Dada. But
Let's do SQ first.
as soon as all the unimportant stuff is out of the way, you'll hear more from Zune.
Hear more from me.
Yeah, about the important stuff. Don't worry, Eskia. It's finally your turn to shine. I know you've been waiting for it for a long time. Okay, I guess we'll get into it. Y2, feel free to start.
Let's push the button.
Yeah.
Get into game number one.
Let's get into it.
I think the game audio is a bit low. I'll fix that in a moment.
Yeah, now I can monitor the Twitch chat. Nice, sad.
Spawning in the top left as the white Terran, we have none other than the Kebab Terran.
Yes.
Interesting names. His opponent in the top right is the Red Zerg GC Trindade.
Yep, it's
Kebab
kind of the
Terran.
famous Kebab Terran. I think he also has the alt Halal Terran. Is that right? That is saying get Zune a bit higher.
Get me behind.
But does that mean he also has an alt Haram Terran?
I don't know. Do you have Haram Terran, Eskia?
Haram Terran.
That's when you
It's
What
just
is Haram
cheese.
Terran? Like 8 racks, BBS,
Yeah,
like,
yeah.
Proxy Factory, 2-port Ray.
Donor owner. That should be your next out.
Honor.
Yeah, like landowner, but with donors. You know what? He actually told me when I asked him what team did you get sorted to, he said the team with all the Ash players and all the Bulgarians. So he's having fun with that.
So, what are these players' actual names on the CPL?
So we've got EskiyaPRIME and Gooseheaded.
Gooseheaded, okay.
Yeah, the
EskiyaPRIME
kebab versus the goose.
EskiyaPRIME's an interesting character. He is actually getting the gas first, so this is going to probably be a mech opening. I think that is on brand with his style. I think he does like to play more lower mechanically intensive builds when he plays TVZ.
Yeah, another thing that he likes to do is pull the boys in every single scenario. I think he has read Love Snow's Terran Guide. Page number 2. SCVs are a fighting unit.
Page number 2, really? I think that would be page number 1. So,
due to time zones, he woke up at 6:50 and played at 7 a.m.
So Gooseheaded's going to be opening with a pretty standard 2-hatch meter. There is a, well, I assume 2-hatch meter, could I guess be Lurker. He does have a scouting drone moving around the map, has checked all the locations but the top left where EskiyaPRIME is. Scouting SCV also moving across the map. A bit of a standard SEV scouting pattern, checking the bottom left first, and when I'm not finding him, sending out a second SEV just to catch any like 9 pools that may be on the way, so it's just to maybe as safe as possible.
How do you respond to like a 4 pool or 5 pool with the STM?
You have to build a bunker in the back, like where your gas and mineral line is, while you try and distract him for as long as possible, and your goal is just to get a marine in the bunker at all costs. That's all you can really do.
So you can't really defend on the ramp with SEVs and marines?
If it's a 9 pool, you can just put like 5 SEVs on the ramp, maybe 4 if you've got good positioning and micro, and it's fine. But against like a 5 pool or 4 pool or something, yeah, it's not a wise decision to hold on the ramp. You can maybe buy time by holding on the ramp to get a bunker up, but the goal is still to get the bunker up.
Right.
So we got standard 4 lings from Gooseheaded, so not really much to do any damage or anything, but enough to be a little bit annoying. So if he wants to take his expansion, he would maybe have to deal with these first, but with the vulture, he's not going to have any problems at all. He's going to be able to volley back these lings, and that probably will kill all of them.
But is it not unwise from Eskia to reveal the vulture so quickly?
Yes and no. You want to go with a vulture just on the off chance that he didn't build a creep colony at 3 minutes 30 to catch this vulture out on time, but he also wants to deny lings being out on the map so he can competently take this expansion, maybe even without having to build a bunker. So it saves him some minerals if he can just like use the vultures to deny lings being able to get out on the map and see what's going on. Like as you can see right now, there's no overlord to even check that this expansion's even going up right now. So like there's very little intel the Zerg can glean from what's going on. So as long as he keeps these vultures out on the map and denies any like drones or lings scouting, like this could be doing anything. So the Zerg's a bit uncomfortable about that. And then once the muters finally do come out, the muters have to go and find the vultures out on the map to make sure they're all dead, because otherwise he can't even take a 3rd expansion. So it like gives a lot more timing window on getting his defenses up. If the muters do try and hunt down the vultures, then he's got way more time to set up turrets and get his Goliaths out.
Right. So boys, can you tell by just looking at all the buildings that Eskia has? Can you tell what build he's going for? Is it going to be the Goliath all-in or just standard mech? Or is it too early to tell yet?
It's too early to tell because it depends on if he goes above 2 factories or not. He's getting the armory and the factories like pretty standard. It depends on if he stays on 2 factories or if he adds more. He's adding more, so it's going to be the more like aggressive style where you get like a lot of Goliaths. Just plus
Gooseheaded trying to sneak a 3rd base, but Eskiya's already onto this.
It's still hard to say for sure until you see like 3 or 4 factories. You know, that's what the Zerg's looking for. He wants to see that you've got like a heavy investment in these factories before he makes the tech switch. He's going to be getting this 3rd base on location, but now you'll see these muters will probably like fly around and try and like kill some stuff. There is a turret going up in the natural for EskiyaPRIME, and he has 2 Goliaths out, but luckily for him there's only 5 muters, but if he doesn't defend this turret well and repair it, he could lose that. But he luckily is pulling his Goliaths down his position, so it's good timing from him. He won't take any damage here.
Yeah, Gooseheaded's not really gonna try to dive in for that turret. I think that's why even the Goliaths are already out.
Interestingly enough, we see a Queen's Nest without any Spire tech, so he wants to tech up extremely quickly. I'm presuming maybe Guardians is even an option here, but I'm curious.
Do you mean Queen's Nest without any Hydra tech?
Yeah, like I'm curious if he's just planning on going like straight Guardian, but he didn't get an armor upgrade on his Spire, so I'm a little confused about that. We seeing an armor upgrade out of Terran. I really like that choice. The armor upgrade is a superior upgrade to get against Mutalisks overall, because you're getting so much added benefit from getting armor reduction on the additional bounce of the glaives, because you're getting like 2 point something extra damage reduction per each armor point. Now, Goosehead is trying to like fly into these muters. He does find some damage in the natural, going to kill a marine and a turret. but there's not really enough mutas here to be too much of a threat. Although I do think he could have sniped off the SCV building the turret, and then maybe could have taken out 2 or 3 SCVs on his exit. He's not really done any damage to the SCVs of EskiyaPRIME right now, which is a problem because if you let a mech player get a lot of SCVs and a lot of factories going, the timing attacks are really hard to stop.
Yeah, I feel, especially if he's going for that Guardian tech later on, he really wants to trade most of the Muta health anyway. Just leave them very low and then morph them into Guardians.
Yeah, like now he's got 2 red mutas. You can just shift click those ones off and like keep them like chilling in the back to morph into Guardians later. You can just keep doing that. I don't know why he made a macro hatchery at his 3rd. I feel like when you're playing against mech, you just want to take bases. So maybe that 4th hatchery could have been at like the bottom right or something. Would have been way smarter.
Finally, we get the Hydra then.
Yeah, he's going straight into Defiler. So yeah, that's why he didn't get any upgrades. He's getting 2 queens, so he can like parasite and stuff. Broodling the tanks later if there's like some kind of like tank push to be able to like defend with Sunkens still. Gonna be like just playing the long game here. Like everything he's doing is like screaming, I want to take this game at least another like 10 minutes. That's the way he's thinking right now. Like he's getting double grades. He's gonna be waiting for Broodling energy, which is going to take another 2 minutes to even be ready. He just wants to slow down the Terran and try and delay his push as much as possible, but he's not got a lot of units right now, and EskiyaPRIME might be looking to move out with this +1 armor finishing, so...
Is his expansion pattern, though, correct for the type of style he's going for? Do you not need another main?
Well, I think I don't mind him taking the natural 3rd too much. It's not ideal, but I definitely don't like him taking a macro hatch at that base. I think that should have been a 4th base. For
right.
Sure. Especially the bottom right. Because you can pull the Terran Mecha army out of position if he tries to kill it. Then you can take advantage of that. Quite a strong push coming from EskiyaPRIME across the middle of the map, Dada.
Yeah, but Gooseheaded has turrets, Sunkens. And Glides really suck against Tapping B. Oh, but there's only 1 Sunken at the 3rd. That's gonna be a problem.
Yeah, this is what I was a bit worried about. He didn't really have many units out, so I was curious how he was going to slow down this push, and yeah, the Sunkens weren't going to cut it, especially not without a big choke point to exploit, so unfortunately going to lose that base and the macro hatchery.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking. He maybe should have taken another main, because that way at least you can abuse the choke.
Well, yeah, I thought he'd maybe take 9 o'clock and bottom right as his 3rd and 4th, so he had those choke points and ramps to kind of exploit a little bit and bottleneck the Goliaths in, but yeah, as it stands, he's going to be stuck on 2 bases for a while because I don't think he's going to be able to sneak any expansions out right now. He is trying to move out with a Defiler, which does have Plague and Consume now. Or sorry, Plague is almost finished. So
Skia with extremely late scanners. Only now the first scanner is going up.
Unfortunately, I think this game's going to go on because I don't see either players able to kill each other right now, especially now that Defilers with Darkstorm are out. It's going to be really hard for EskiyaPRIME to kill him without siege tanks.
Goosehead trying to make use of that Bone Broodling, but I feel at such a position, just parasiting one of the key units is not a terrible idea.
So these Dark Swarms are going to slow down the push, but I don't think trying to figure. That's a really nice play. This is a very interesting situation because he could just try and walk around this and try and hunt down expansions and deny the third base ever going up. But he also has to be careful because Terran Mech Army is extremely immobile, and if he gets caught out of position, he could throw his lead. So, bit of an awkward situation for EskiyaPRIME.
Yeah, I feel we should just go around that.
Yeah, I don't know
Dark
why.
Storm whenever
I think he just really, really wants to kill this Defiler.
I mean, it's one hell defiler.
But at the cost of getting every single one of his Goliaths played.
Oh,
And now the
no.
Mutalist and Hydra's coming in to try and clean up the rest of these Goliaths. Most of them are on 1 HP.
Hydras cannot do anything because
There's no Dark Swarm though. Okay, he didn't lose all of the Goliaths. He could have lost another 5 Goliaths there that were all 1 HP, but he did lose quite a few. Luckily, he's
the funny thing is the only Goliaths he did not lose were the ones that were under the Dark Storm because they're protected by a Dark Storm.
yeah. Bit of an anti-timing with that attack, I think. Okay, so the third gas base is going up for EskiyaPRIME. It's gonna be really important for him because he's got so many minerals right now, but like almost no gas. So he's really like needs to get this third gas online and mining as soon as possible if he wants to be able to squeeze out tanks to kind of help deal with these defilers. Finally seeing the 4th base from Zerg. I really don't understand why he took the macro hatchery there. I think it was way smarter for him to start doing this kind of expansion pattern that he's doing now. It's almost exactly what he should have done to begin with.
Yeah, and we also see that Eskio. I said that, and he just canned the 3 o'clock.
He's
I was
gonna
gonna say Eskio still doesn't know about the expansions.
He's gonna have some Sunkens to slow down these pushes, and he has got a lot more defendable positions to work with now after taking those expansions. And now that he's got his Defilers out, he's got Evo Chambers getting his upgrades. He's gonna kind of catch up to the Terran a little bit. He's ahead in tech in the sense that there's no vessels. He's only just now building a science facility at almost 15 minutes, so Zerg is quite a bit ahead in tech right now. So he's got that going for him. He is starting to get a little bit more map control. Without there being any science vessels yet to just irradiate these defilers, it does allow the Zerg to kind of like take a bit more liberties and just like gain space that they otherwise probably wouldn't be able to get away with getting.
Yeah, I mean, the Zerg is sitting very comfortably right now, especially given that this kid just doesn't seem to know how to go around these orange clouds.
He's trying to inch forward with a Dark Swarm, then realizes that he needs to consume for another one. I think he wanted to leapfrog forward there with the Hydras and get on top of that tank, because he could in theory do so, but maybe at the cost of too many Hydras. I'm not sure if he's aware of those 2 tanks that are further in the backline.
He's got energy for 2 Dark Storms right now. And a second develop, so I think he's in a pretty good position to leap forward.
He is. The problem he's having right now is he's kind of having to like hedge his bets between making units and drones. He needs to get a lot more minerals saturated to get his economy in full swing. He's only just now barely getting up to 40 drones, like more than 20 behind the Terran. It's not too bad, but he's a little bit starved for minerals, and his economies and infrastructure's not quite fully online yet. So he's now like walking the tightrope of making units and making drones, now pushing forward with the Dark Swarms, getting right on top of that tank, able to pick it off, although the bit of a double-edged sword here as the Goliaths move into the Dark Swarm and also get the benefit of it, although now that they target the Defiler, looks like they're going to lose pretty much all of them. There's only a few Goliaths left and they're also played, so if he just target-fired those tanks...
Yes. Not just the tanks, but also the Goliaths that were not under the Dark Storm.
Yeah, a little bit of an oversight there, not quite understanding the situation at hand.
Well, thankfully for him, the siege tanks splashed the Goliaths.
The Zerg player's going to clean up that Terran army pretty effortlessly after that. 2-2 is now kicking in for the Zerg, and Terran is still on 1-1, so now he's starting to kind of push down the accelerator and engage the nitrous oxide as he's racing ahead of this Terran in terms of tech.
Look at the saturation of Eskia. He only has 6 SCVs mining up. He just got a few more. But he had only 6 mining in the third base for such a long time. Meanwhile, in the main base, there's probably 12 SCVs for every
Yeah,
single patch.
as Terran especially, it's really important to mineral smooth and try and get as many SCVs off your main as possible so that you don't mine out too quickly, so that you can mine off more bases at once for longer. Because right now, as you can see, his main base is becoming mined out extremely quickly, and the third is only just now starting to be mined. So yeah, a bit of a negative impact from a lack of mineral smoothing.
Is that for every TVZ how the Terran should behave, or
That's
does it
just
depend
how
on the
that's
style?
what Terran should be in general, especially in any matchup, really. TVT, TVP, and TVZ. It's really important that you don't lose the power spike of mining off that many bases for as long as possible.
Yeah, because with Protoss you kind of want to abuse that strategy against Terran, because against Zerg you can't really keep a lot of bases.
Like EskiyaPRIME saying it's time to go, moving forward with the siege tank's now going to siege up. He has got 2 vessels as well. Defense Matrix goes down on the front siege tank. Going to take the little high ground up here. Going to kill some overlords in the process. Zerg now backing up wisely. He does have a fairly large army, but only 1 defiler nearby that I can see, desperately trying to consume for energy. Some of the rallied Zergs going to waste. He does have a pretty sizable army, and he's got enough to defend this. I think what he wants to do right now is just contain the Terran and delay his move out as much as possible while these bases get online. He's now got like 5 bases with a 6th on the way, so if he can just slow down this push and trade as well as possible, he's going to go well for him. Darkstorm goes down. Beautiful spread of Hydras, going to be able to delay this push quite well nicely, but he probably doesn't want to push into this right now without more Dark Swarms. He's desperately trying to consume for energy and put more Plagues and Dark Swarms forward, but he's wasting a lot of his Hydras going too far down into the siege line. I think he needs to be a lot more defensive and passive there and force the Terran to keep on sieging and pushing forward.
Yeah, you really want to force a Terran to do the siege and siege micro. Also, he had that right idea earlier with the queens, but then he didn't remake any more queens after the first initiative. I feel like that was a mistake, because right now Eskia has 8 tanks, and that could have been 3 tanks.
There's 8 Hydralisks trying to go for a backstab flank. I'm not sure they're going to be very successful. They have picked off a few Goliaths, but now they're going to be absolutely decimated by the rally point siege tanks that just say no, goodbye. Interesting tactics here from the Zerg. He is going into Ultras. That could work now that he's got Defilers. There is a lot of tanks though. The only thing
Ultra seems though is an extremely bad choice versus Mech specifically.
They're good in small numbers to help soak up damage for cracklings, but yeah, when they've got this many siege tanks, it's a very brittle way of playing, and it's not always going to be the best choice. He's also getting armor upgrade, I think, before speed, which is not also a good choice against Mech. I don't think he needs the speed of the Ultras to be able to engage properly.
Maybe he's relying that the Dark Swarms will keep the Ultras safe.
Yeah, unfortunately,
That's a very good play, but
you see how fast Ultras die to siege tanks. It's pretty nasty.
That's exactly why I thought it was probably not the best choice. Siege tanks do so much damage.
Yeah, they do a lot of damage. Yeah, unfortunately, he went for the armor upgrade on these Ultras, so they can't even close the distance quick enough to get on top of the tanks to really do their job. So, yeah, a bit of an oversight, I think, getting the armor upgrade first, especially. Now the Terran...
All these Ultras just dying before they can do anything.
Yeah. I mean, those Ultras got some work done just there, and they were slow Ultras. We had fast Ultras, and they got on top of the tanks and like started making them splash damage themselves sooner. Maybe more tanks go boom there.
Yeah, but there's also so much resources wasted on all these Ultras. It feels like you can achieve the same thing if you just spend half of these resources on links and just rushed all the tanks.
Counter attack in the bottom left. 6 Zerglings going to try and take out this Goliath and to stop this base from mining a 4th gas for EskiyaPRIME. He's going to be a little bit of a thorn in his side, but right now the writing's on the wall for the Zerg as these siege tanks are breaking not only the 3rd base, they're also breaking into the expansion now. Probably going to kill this base too, and maybe even the rest of the main base, and that might be the end, the start of the end for the Zerg. It's possible to recover from a position like this, but it can be quite tricky. In a base trade scenario, this can work for the Zerg. but with this many tanks, it's extremely difficult, and there's not enough forces out on the map to really do any kind of base trade scenario. So I think the Zerg will lose this, just maybe a little bit slowly.
Yeah, Zerg is even lost the +1 attack for melee, which sucks.
Yeah.
And now he's about to lose all their tech. Definitely not in a good position, but a huge counter attack coming in
Yeah, this could go well for the Zerg.
for the flank.
He is kind of streaming his Zerglings in a line, which is not necessarily optimal, but it might still do the job. Defense Matrix is going to soak up a lot of those lings, though, so a lot of the wind is out of the sails for that force, and the positioning of the siege tanks is a bit too strong. If there was maybe some forces in the main base to attack from both sides with Darkswarm, maybe that could be something done there, but as it stands, he's going to trade really well now that this Zerg is going to have to fight his way up his own round.
Yeah, there was definitely a potential with that counter-attack, especially with the Defilers that were out. But as it is right now, I think after Eskia defended even this, the writing's pretty much on the wall.
Yeah, it's going to be a little bit of a slow death for the Zerg, death by 1,000 cuts from EskiyaPRIME. Now taking his 12 o'clock base as well.
There's a CC in the middle just randomly being aggroed by some hunters.
It's a small moral victory for the Zerg.
That's Eskia's tribute. Yeah, you lost the game, but here's your CC. You can have one.
If he infested it, landed it, made the infested Terran and killed the tank with it, that'd be a big victory.
I mean, if he did that, definitely Eskia can win the game, but he cannot win all the viewers.
Yeah, definitely would lose the style points game.
Eskia saying that was a scouting CC.
Scouting CC, yeah, right.
Just a very big, slow, beefy overlord, right?
Well, the Zerg's remaking his pool finally in the bottom right. Maybe he should have remade some of his other tech as well. If he wanted to carry on this game, could have remade his Defiler Mound and some other critical infrastructure buildings before losing the Hive. Would have been a wise decision. But maybe he is aware of the loss and is kind of processing it.
Yeah, I mean, he did make one queen as well, so maybe he wants to get another CC very low. He's hoping for the second scouting CC.
Well, open a prayer. Still has time to win some style points yet.
Yeah, I mean, to Gooseheaded's credit, he still has a lot of his tech. He still has the Ultra Cavern and the Lings, and like he doesn't really need the Hive for the Cracklings because that's already done.
No, but he does need a Defiler Mound.
He does need a Defiler Mound, that's true.
So he's kind of forced to retech back up to Hive. So it would have been better if he at least just remade the Defiler Mound so he didn't have to worry about getting Hive again.
He's trying to take all of the bottom side of the bases, the map. But that is, these bases are really on a timer, and the timer is until Eskia finds them.
Yeah, the unfortunate thing with taking these rapid expansions is it's very hard to defend them all, and sometimes one defended expansion is better than multiple undefended expansions, unless you've got total map control, and in this case EskiyaPRIME has the map control, and unfortunately will mop up this small amount of Zerg forces in the map and make his way down southeast to try and isolate and siege the Zerg to the point where it's completely contained, and we'll start to lose all these bases systematically, much like a TVP or a ZVP as opposed to a normal TVZ. GG, well played.
GG by
Gooseheaded. Yeah, giving just a G.
Just a G.
Was that good or was it a game?
Good game, you know. There's no reason to just G, I think.
Goosehead says GG, and then Eskia just acknowledges, yeah, game.
I mean, he's the one who won. He should say GG at least. But oh well, maybe Eskia just not happy with his play or something. He's in the chat, so we can berate him about it. Yeah, it's always interesting to see mech, I think. I like seeing mech versus Zerg games. I find it very difficult to deal with as a Zerg myself.
Well, yeah, you kind of have to have like a Zerg versus Protoss mentality in how you're approaching the game. But and then there's times where you just, if you don't have enough units, you die. And sometimes you make the wrong units or don't switch from mutas to hydras when you should, or switch to hydras when you should have stayed mutas. And there's a lot of like nuances that can happen in that. And you don't always know exactly what style of mech it's going to be. Maybe you commit to mutas and he goes fast Valkyries as well, so that can be problematic. There's a lot of nuances to that style, and the mech player probably knows how to navigate that better than you because you don't play against mech so well.
Yeah, it feels like a totally different matchup. Anyway, we're in game 2.
Alright, spawning in the top. Get a little bit of a issue in game number 1, but maybe you can turn this whole series around and turn it into a 2-1 situation. It's none other than Goose as the red Zerg. And his opponent has won the first game. Didn't necessarily win on style points, but he showed his Terran mech prowess. It's the white Terran EskiyaPRIME.
Yeah, I think as a completely player who plays a totally different race from any of the ones that we're seeing here, it feels like the good answers for Zerg against mech are either mass muta or that mass queen style that just requires so much more mechanics.
Mm-hmm. You can go mass muta. The problem is the Terran can then put you on a clock with vessels or Valkyries, and you lose a lot of that power in that situation.
Yeah, I feel that mass muta is more like a all-in response that you do. If you do enough damage, then you sort of can decide to pull the trigger and just commit to the mute tech and try to end the game on this.
It's basically the style you want to do if he goes for more factories rather than tech. If you see the fast double armory, you want to switch into Hydra, basically. Whereas if you see like more factories and only one armory, then mass mute is pretty good still.
So when do you go queens then? Mass queens?
If he's going like siege tanks.
Right. So a few factories for that?
Yeah, well, you keep a track of how many machine shops he's making. If he's making any tanks at all, you know. If you're going Hydras, he's probably going to make tanks, so then you can kind of do it preemptively and like start to go into Queens while you're going into Hydras. So you need 2 minutes to build up the energy to Broodling anyway.
Yeah, Broodling is 150, is that correct?
Yeah, it's 150 energy. Takes 2 minutes to charge up for it.
Yeah, one of the few spells that are very high cost.
Okay, so it's going to be mech again from EskiyaPRIME, trying to fight off this scouting drone from Goose, who's doing pretty much the same thing as game number 1, taking that 12 hatch and a pull. Although hasn't taken his gash yet. I think he's going to preemptively take a third hatchery on location, preempting. Maybe he had this in mind this entire time, or maybe it's just purely because the scouting drone confirmed that it was going to be mech, but he wants to take a third base right away, being a little bit greedy, and sometimes playing greedy against mech can actually be the answer.
I think it's not a bad play in general, but on this map with the third that's so exposed against the first vulture, you're kind of in a tough position.
He's going to have a bit of finesse here to not make this become a problem, because that is very close to where the vulture will be going to naturally. So the vulture could kill lava there, and kill anything that comes out of it. It'd be pretty annoying. So I'm interested to see how he's going to navigate this, knowing that he's going to have to deal with these vultures anyway. He has got four slow leggings out, but they're not going to do much against a vulture. Interestingly enough, EskiyaPRIME actually moved out with some marines, maybe to see if he could snipe a drone or two if there wasn't going to be any earlier lings out. He's going to be getting that creep colony on time, so there's no way a vulture's getting into his main base, at least, but there's still the possibility of a vulture run by. He doesn't know how many vultures he's going to make and stop. For all he knows, this could be vulture speed as well. This could be like a timing where 3 vultures of speed run past the sunken. He doesn't know that for sure, so he's also blocking with drones to stop the SCV getting into the main to try and disguise exactly what he's doing, because the reason is because he's actually going for kind of like a 9-7-3. He's really playing this like a ZVP. He wants to go for a very fast 3-hatch Hydra timing and just try and kill the Terran.
I sort of respect that decision, but if he was going, that seems to be the style that he's going for. But if he was really committing to this style, wouldn't it be better to take the inner 12 o'clock as a third base, or is that just too revealing?
It depends on if it's seen or not, if the drone is scouted or not, if the drone can get there or not. I mean, there are situations where you'd want to build that third hatchery as close to the Terran as possible, sometimes even at like the Terran's 4th or 3rd in some situations and maps. In this one, I think it's hard to say for sure. I don't mind him taking it there.
Yeah, especially because it's on high ground and you can defend for quite a long time, I feel.
The only issue I have with it is that if the Terran player was very active with this Vulture, he could really disrupt the mining at the third base right now and kill all these drones here. And that would be a big issue for making this timing attack really strong. One thing he could have done is not made his drones mine there and mined only in his natural, which is protected by the sunken, but he's getting a bit lucky, and this Vulture is only just now going into the third base. It may only get 1 drone or 2. Hydra's got speed now, so they're going to be able to come in and help clean up. He's only going to get that 1 drone. Still a bit annoying, every drone is so precious. Hasn't yet started that range upgrade.
We have a bit.
Okay, now he's starting the range upgrade. I was trying to think to myself, like, okay, and he's mining second gas, so maybe he is not going to commit to an attack.
But he's not making layer though.
I don't know why he's mining more gas. That's throwing me off a little bit.
Yeah, I mean sometimes players, when they're going for all in, sometimes players are thinking of backup or fallback strategy of what are you gonna do if the all in fails. But
Well, I was curious
I
if this was
found
going to.
in a lot of these cases that's not the right mindset. If you're going for an all in, you want to end the game with it.
I was curious if this was maybe going to be like a fake Hydra bust into a more macro style, but he does seem to be making only Hydras right now, so I think
I mean,
he is gonna...
even if it were a fake Hydra bust, I still think he needs a layer.
Yeah, although he's probably going to try and kill the Terran, and right, he's going to try and pop the bunker right now, I think, but he's really not engaged it well. He's given the Terran so much time to react to it and kind of bottlenecked himself. It's really poor attack from Goose, because he didn't get his Hydras in range to start attacking. Only 2 Hydras could attack, and the rest were kind of body blocked from being able to get in there. So he gave the Terran every opportunity to hold that. With just a tiny bit of extra positioning those Hydras, he would have easily been able to kill that bunker. Not that he'd be able to do anything after that, but he would at least got on the bunker and not just lost Hydras.
Yeah, but then after that, I didn't like that he didn't really take the engagement when the Goliaths were on the low ground. You can very safely, with these Hydra numbers, fight the Goliaths if they're staying on the low ground. And you have the high ground.
The Goose has taken a 4th, and the lair is finally on the way. Evolution Chamber as well, so he is going to be focusing on the mid game a little bit now, probably realizing he's not going to be able to kill this Terran anytime soon. Going up to the 5 factory +1 style, so yeah, very Goliath heavy.
Well, we do only have 25 drones mining for Goose.
Second machine shop and siege mode nearly finishing, so going to be peppering in quite a few tanks into this army as well to help them fight these Hydras later on. Not too sure about how he's going to continue to expand. Because I'm curious why he took the base in the middle as his fourth.
Maybe he's planning to take the Terran's fourth and third base.
Strongly doubt it. It would be
a Giga Chad move.
With Defilers, it'd maybe be workable, but otherwise it'd be pretty ill-advised. Okay, so we've got the Queen's Nest and the Queen on the way. Double Evo. No Hive just yet. Throwing down macro hatcheries right now, so going to be focusing more on his production than tech, other than last time.
Shimmer being very happy that you're casting and asking you why you're not in CPL this season. He is. He's coaching.
I'm coaching this season, Shimmer. Well, +1 armor's now finished, and EskiyaPRIME is moving out with the tanks. We're trying to get up onto this high ground so he doesn't have to fight at a deficit. Doesn't want to be having to deal with missed shots and stuff while fighting the Hydras, and does eventually need to take his third base. Right now the Zerg's already sitting on 4 of his own bases, so...
We do have a single queen again. Oh no, we have 3 queens. I take that back. So he has learned his lesson from last game. Last game he only did two queens. Now he's trying what he can do with 3.
In case there's a scouting CC that he can infest after the first 2 queens die.
Yeah, I mean, he's clearly going for the long game here.
Well, both players will be, yeah. Third command center is going down the natural for EskiyaPRIME, so we can float that to his third in a minute. He's going to be shuffling his tanks. So this is going to be quite like a TVP in a lot of regards, trying to shuffle up to this third base location while setting up as defensively as possible to make sure that Zerg can't come in here and take advantage of his position. Now, with the queens out, it's going to be interesting to see if he can get enough broodlings to soften up the army to fully engage it. There is currently 6 siege tanks. Going to be building like 1 or 2 at a time. I'm actually interested to see that he's not building siege tanks right now. He's missing quite a few production cycles on these siege tanks. He probably should have like 10 tanks right now. Instead, he only has 6. So that's a bit of a missed opportunity, I think, from EskiyaPRIME.
Yeah, but at the same time, we don't really have as many Hydras as you'd hope for in this situation. So seems like if he can pull off these 3 broodlings, he might have the numbers, although the Hydras are a bit low still, I'd say.
Yeah, well, he's getting Defilers now, Coach-Pupil, and Defilers being made. Link speed as well. Currently getting...
Yeah, as long as the Defilers throw Plagues rather than Dark Storms, he should be fine.
I'm curious to see if he's going to try and commit to preventing this third base from going up, because he is moving into position as if he does want to do that. He does have 2 more broodlings available, so he can reduce this tank count even further. Although he hasn't got his upgrades yet, so he's 1-1 against 1-1 Terran against only +1 attack on the Zerg. So, oh, and he's going to try and move in now and get another broodling.
Oh, he should really back off now.
He should really back off. He doesn't want to attack into that many siege tanks. Although Darkstorm has arrived, so now he maybe will start the foundations of a siege to properly engage this with the support of the Darkstorms, but as it stands, he's bleeding off a few Hydras.
Yeah, I feel even with the Darkstorm, you don't really want to engage into that many siege tanks.
Well, currently he is preventing the third base of the Terran from even going up. He's going to have to move those tanks away a little bit just to land the command center. I think that 1 tank is blocking the command center from being able to land.
I mean, he's buying time while taking his 5th, so things are definitely going better for Goose this game than they were the last game.
Oh yeah, quite a bit better. He's now catching up with grades now. He's got 1-1 as well, and his +2 attack's about to finish. Terran's still going to be on 1-1 for a little bit longer, so yeah, it's looking a lot better for him. Plague's also about to finish. Once he starts chaining Plagues on this Terran doorstep, it's going to be a bit of a nightmare situation from EskiyaPRIME. Some Vultures actually running into the third base of Goose, taking out a few drones.
Oh no, there's no seconds to defend it.
Yeah, he's targeting the hatchery though. I don't know how that Vulture got clicked onto the hatchery. That's so unfortunate. He could have probably killed another 5 drones.
That was 10 hits on the hatchery.
Yeah. Another 3 or maybe 4 drones at least. Now, Goose is trying to push down the ramp very, very poorly. Is going to get a Plague off, but he just wasted so many Hydras. Well, he got the Plague on the command centers, maybe he can infest that.
Yeah, I was gonna say the CC is plagued, so he definitely won this.
There's a Goliath underneath the command center that's stopping it from landing as well. He's going to move his army out of the way. He didn't move the Goliath though. He's moving the... Oh, now he's moving.
Oh no, now the tanks I think are preventing it.
Yeah, he's still not going to be able to land that third base. He needs that third guess as well.
I think last game we saw the scouting CC, and this time we're just seeing the CC being used as a barracks in PvP. This is so for some kids.
This game is a perfect example of how Dark Swarm is a really strong spell, but once they get to a certain threshold of tanks, it loses a lot of its value, and just pure Hydra under Dark Swarm is no longer enough to fight this.
Yeah, but his Goliath count is really reduced right now, so if there was ever a time for a Muta switch, it's now.
Muta switch would only be good if he had already been getting the Muta grades, which I'm not sure he has. I don't think he got armor or attack, so it would be pretty bad. It'd be okay if he started to go into cracklings. He's making 2 spires actually. He is actually making 2 spires right now. It's an interesting timing. I think he does want to do a Muta switch later, but he's going to have to be getting double upgrades at the same time.
Yeah, I think that's why he's now targeting the Goliaths with Spawn Broodling. He just wants to reduce the number of Goliaths, but...
Although he's making Ultras now, though.
So kind of going for a bit of everything and nothing in particular.
Yeah, there is quite a few queens. He's got at least 8 queens now, so the longer this game goes on, the more and more units are going to start dying to these broodlings, and could be the tempo swing that he needs, taking out like 8 siege tanks all at the same time. Would be enough to turn the tide of the battle when it comes down to it.
One very sad drone is trying to take a second main, but failing to do so because of mines.
Yeah, he's not going to be able to set a base up there for a while. He's taking this base in the middle, so going to be up to 6 bases now. 4 vultures out on the map for EskiyaPRIME. Going to maybe get some damage. There's not any sunkens here, just 3 hydras that they could probably...
But now he sees a double spire.
Yeah, now he sees the double spire, and he's only just now getting the grade, so that Muta switch is going to be probably a lot less effective than it would have been.
But there is no response really for Eskia. He's not making Goliaths after he saw the... Oh, there we go.
Yeah, he's going to be switching the Goliath production now, while also moving across the map simultaneously. There's not a lot of Mutas right now. He's got like 8 in production, which are just now about to pop. But he's losing a lot of his ground army to this first initial move out. He's trying desperately to trade and delay as much as possible. But already the base in the middle is now going to be under siege. I'm not sure why he took this base here. It would have been much better if he secured the main, the other main a lot earlier. But as it stands, he's going to have to make do with what he's got and lie in the bed that he's made. There's going to be a long time before these broodlings are finally ready. He needs at least another 20-30 seconds for most of those broodlings to finish. He's going to buy as much time as possible now with just dark swarming and delaying the push. He's got.
He's going to have 4 or 5 spawn broodling in just a few seconds.
Yeah,
now.
yeah. But there's so many siege tanks. Like it's going to be a tall order for him. There's at least 15 siege tanks there. Okay, so he's going to start moving up the ramp, gets the plague on the Goliaths. There's quite a few Zerglings. Another Darkstorm goes down to cover. Another forward leapfrogging.
Ooh, that is very good for Darkstorm.
Yeah, he is doing good Darkstorms, but there's just not enough flood of units. He didn't rally additional lings and...
Yeah, all these lings are just sitting in.
It also would have been really good if he ran in with the Mutas at that point to start fighting the tanks that were low HP while the Goliaths were busy trying to mop up.
Yeah, you also right now want to target those Goliaths with spawn broken ED, so because you can pick off the tanks up later easily.
I'm curious about what he's gonna do now because he doesn't have a lot of Mutas out. He's building
He's researching Overlord drops as well.
He wants to do Ultra drops, Ultra bombs, which is pretty good if you've got a big army, but he's got quite a bit of a hodgepodge army right now, which might struggle to fight this huge Terran mech pool.
Some of the Mutas are taking aggro, and
yeah, they still 0-0. Plus 1-1 is only just now about to finish, so they're fighting right before their 1-1 kicks in as well. So he's gonna lose that's not good.
Quite the anti-timing.
With plagues, maybe he could have done something with those mutas by like plaguing the Terran mech and then using the mutas to clean up all the low HP units, but as it stands now, he's bled off most of his army and he's only got a few ultras left that are going to try and go in and do something with a bit of Defiler support, but there's not really a lot to write home about. He hasn't got a huge army, and if the Terran mech stays active and starts like taking away these bases and playing a game of whack-a-mole, I don't see how the Zerg's going to survive much longer.
Yeah, I mean, also there's some unfortunate news for Goose here that he's now suffering from what I call the Proto syndrome on this map. The Terran has the middle, so basically the game is over.
Well, Goose is loading up Overlords right now. Maybe he can do like one big Doom drop on top of the Terran army that somehow turns the tide, but I don't think there's enough units. And
yeah, he only has 3 Overlords loaded.
He has more Overlords loaded with Zerglings, but they're back at his third base. He didn't send everything at once. He's struggling to control his army and only fighting with a small portion at a time. Now the Vulture's going to get into this 4th base and start fighting the drones and Hydras there. Looking really bad for Goose. I think he's going to tap out soon.
Yeah, no. Even the double spires are being targeted while the upgrades are in the making.
Yeah.
It's not like his mutas did a lot, but now they have no chance of ever.
I think he played an okay game, but he just like didn't commit to anything. He kind of like went to like middle road and fenced it a little bit too much with his decisions and kind of got outplayed a bit.
We got G from Eskia again.
G. Eskia, you know, no GG, no skills.
Yeah, Eskia, learn to tap that second G.
2-0. Well played.
Yeah, very well played.
I think Goose had a very good strategic placement with his spells, but it just seemed that the macro was not there. That was the big thing, I feel.
Yeah.
Like with the Dark Storms and plagues that he positioned really well, if he had the units to support it, I feel this would have been G for Eskia.
Yeah, I think Goose needs to go back to the lab and figure out how to play against mech a little bit better. It's going to be quite tricky to navigate sometimes.
Yeah, it's no wonder that so many Terran players are recommending mech play as the just go-to for the lower tiers.
It's especially because the lower tier Zergs, but most Zergs struggle playing against it unless you particularly like playing against mech and try and like learn how to play against it. You don't get many opponents that play mechs, so you don't really get an opportunity to learn how to play against it.
Yeah, it's like a completely different matchup.
Yeah, but that's why we've got the CPL, because you are in a team with some Terrans that are supposedly your tier, so you can always ask them for games where they go, man.
Wait, is it just me? This is tier 1, right?
Yeah, this is tier 1.
Oh no, my overlay says tier 2. Oh, we started this cast so quickly without really preparing for it that I forgot to set the tier. Oh no, oh my god. Anyway, I'll just update that really quickly while you guys introduce the players and talk over me.
Okay, well, we have spawning in the top right as the grey Zerg, it's C3. His opponent in the bottom left as the orange Terran, it's Sva3.
C3 versus Sva3.
Yeah, no POs, but there's C3s.
It's already a G.
Just a G though.
I think C3's CPL name is Censured.
I would like to see C3 go for this mineral boost on the second from the bottom patch. Oh, it's doing it automatically, I think.
Oh, okay, so the layout has been updated. Yeah, it's very disappointing. And CX1 is disappointing me. I understand. I take full responsibility for this.
It's definitely outshined by my issue with not beginning the cast on the correct channel.
and then coming to me and begging me, Dada, please help me out. Put it on your channel instead. And, okay, I'll help you out.
Dada, gracious.
Well, I mean, we had a few options. We could have either had no sound StarCraft.
Guys, he begged me. He got down on his knees. Anyway,
I think you had too much tea.
just want everyone to know that you need to know the truth.
You must construct additional pylons.
Dada's line.
It's going to be 11 hatch from C3. Interesting to see 11 hatch against a Terran. I think that's just straight up worse than 12 hatch, but maybe you know something I don't.
No, that's strange.
Well, is Link Flood even a thing in this matchup?
Yeah, but you don't need to 11 hatch. Usually you go 11 hatch against Protoss because you need a slightly faster pool to deal with the initial Zealots, because if you lose one drone then it's like the whole benefit of the build is negated. But against Terran they don't really have that early game threat of the Zealot to worry about, so just a standard 12 hatch is usually a fast enough pool timing.
Can you go 9 hatch into muscling against
You
Terran?
can, but as soon as Terrans scout it, they're going to know exactly what you're doing, and you won't have any element of surprise, and they'll probably just defend it. But yeah, you could do that. But
Now that's assuming that the Terran can tell
assuming that they
on what
understand
supply you build your hatchery by looking at the top.
But they can determine it by the health and how many drones you have quite easily. It's just a matter of whether or not they would determine that. Going to be seeing a 1-Rax FE from Sva3. It's SEV in position to make the CC right now. There it goes. A little bit late, but that's okay. Meanwhile, we're going to be seeing a fairly standard gas timing from C3. Probably going to be going straight into Lair, but might also be seeing Lings with speed because he is making 6 Lings right out of the gate, and that is 8 Lings right out the gate. So this might be a very, very aggressive build order. Maybe that was part of the reason for this 11 hatch, was slightly faster lava timings for these Lings. Probably going to be getting Ling speed straight away, I'm assuming.
But now he's making drones.
Yeah, could just be a Ling pressure timing with 8 slow Lings and straight into Lair. Yeah, it is going to be that, I think.
Yeah, I'm sad. I was thinking Link Flood from the very beginning.
I'm curious if he's just going to run past this bunker. With speed, it's very easy just to run past the bunker. I'm wondering how this is going to... Ooh, he unloads from the bunker right as the Lings get there. Interesting. Oh, he's going to try and go back in and get one of these Marines, but luckily from Sva3, noticing that and pulling his Marines back just in the nick of time. Not going to lose any of these precious Marines, while also killing 2 of the Zerglings. So, really big win from Sva3, actually, because that's 2 drones that were made into Zerglings that are now going to be useless for him for at least the foreseeable future. So right now,
Could have been a disaster for Slattery, though, given the unload time of the bunker.
Yes, if the Lings were a little bit slower and the Marines had started to push out a bit more and the Lings got on top of the Marines, then yeah, that could have been like an absolute devastating blow for the Terran. He could have even just like lost the game more or less just there and then. We'll be getting a Hydralisk Den, so okay. Gonna be seeing 2-hatch Lurker play with a third.
Well, we also have the
base named
Spire at the natural.
Oh, he just threw down a Spire as well afterwards. Yeah, he threw down the Den, now he threw down the Spire. So maybe he's trying to throw off the Terran and hide, or at least confuse him as to what tech he will end up going with.
Yeah, and look, the drones are not letting the
Right.
SCV go back to the natural.
So he might be thinking this is like 2-hatch Lurker all in or something, but really it might just be a very standard 2-hatch Muter with slower Muters.
I'm not sure if I'm a fan of this idea, because the SCV could have just theoretically just mineral warped him. So.
Yeah, plus it really slows down the timing of his Muters a lot. Like right now, he should probably be building the Muters, instead the Spire's not finished yet, so it's slowing him down a little bit. But the way he's saving up his minerals and got his Overlords about to pop, it does look like he's going to be trying to go up to 6 Muters as soon as possible. Okay, 4th Barracks coming down from Svar 3. So with the 4th Barracks, he's basically saying he wants to have map control because the 4th Barracks really allows you to push out on the map more and clean up anything that's out on the map like Overlords and Lings, and basically it gives you the option of being a lot more offensive and squeezing out the Zerg from the game. So interesting to see what he can do with this 4th Barracks production.
But if these Marines are too far out on the map, especially without the medic support, I feel the Mutants are just gonna topple them over.
He does have 2 medics, and because the muter timing is a lot slower, like these muters are only just now hatching, so they're basically 40 seconds slow almost. So he's gonna be fine as long as he doesn't get caught out. He's now starting to add on turrets as well. Fairly well placed turrets. Pretty good zoning. Zoning of the turrets is extremely important. Make sure you have to kind of like visualize like rings of zone around the turrets and try and figure out where to position them to keep certain avenues of your base open so that he can't get on top of your barracks production or keep you from transitioning units between your main and natural.
Yeah, it's almost like they need to do some base layout management, like every single process in every single matchup ever.
Okay, there's 6 muters in the main base trying to pick up SCVs. Now there isn't a zoning turret at the bottom of this command center, which there probably should be. So these muters are actually getting a lot of damage, and the bio is just going to push across the map and try and kill the Zerg. He hasn't yet morphed the other sunken.
Reinforcement bio though is. Oh no, these mutants are deciding not to fight and are just lying over.
I think it's over. The game is over, I think. He's just gonna die.
He has Lurkers research, but no Hydras yet.
He's got some Hydras. He can morph the Hydras on the ramp, but he's gonna have to evacuate this expansion, and he still will probably lose it. Really
he's gonna have to give up the natural.
Yeah. He has to give up the natural. It's the only chance, and he's not doing it.
He's losing all the drones right now.
Yeah, he could have made the lurkers on the ramp and sacrificed the natural. Might have been his only small chance.
It seems like that would be the play, because now the lurkers are gonna pop almost as soon as they hatch. Whereas if they were on the high ground, at least there's the mischance.
Yeah, I think he just lost the game automatically from not having the sunkens morphed and stuff. He had maybe 3 sunkens if I has enough time for the lurkers to morph and finish, but even then it's a tough hold. And he only had 1 sunken finished, so 2 wasn't enough. 3 doesn't even fully defend it, it just buys enough time. Yeah, it's really rough. C3 gonna have to tap out in this game, I think. Lost so many drones, now down to 16 drones, more than twice the amount of SCVs.
Yeah, I feel like normally as the Zerg player you want to have as many sunkens as non-marine units they have in their infantry. So like 3 sunkens because of the 2 medics in the power plant.
Something, yeah, it's kind of like that. The Terran wants to have at least 1 medic per sunken to bust as well.
Ooh, but he is gonna be able to defend the layer. So
Yeah,
a
he hasn't
small
lost
victory
much,
for
but
C3 here, but
he is gonna lose all these drones at the third, I think. Because
that's gonna be too painful to lose.
he might save some of them. If he loses any more, I think it's completely lights out. I think it's already lights out for him, but losing anything right now is crippling. Yeah, that's the game. There's no way. He's down to 7. He's down to 9 drones. He has got some more popping, but I don't see how he wins from here.
Yeah, it's gonna be a very uphill battle for C3. Oh, looks like there was a pause.
My cat is really annoying. There's a few Zerglings trying to make something happen in the middle, but it's all she wrote. GG, well played. Cool from
Yep.
C3.
We almost had the G from Svattery as well.
It's a G day today.
It's G day today, top G day.
It's the
today.
Terran G.
Alright, is it cool to take a 1-minute intermission?
Yep.
Oh,
We'll be
yes.
back in a second.
We will just, Y2 and I will just talk for a minute.
Okay, sounds good. 1 second.
So, I think it's kind of interesting that we have 2 TVZs, but they look so completely different. And I think this goes back to what we were saying earlier about how Terran Mech is just such a different matchup to deal with as a Zerg.
Yeah, it just feels there's both races just need to play completely differently. In DBZ, it seems like to a big parts of the game, the Terran is the one who can do all the aggression, and then it kind of flips once you get Defilers. But for TVZ, if the Terran is meching, it's the Zerg that actually needs to be the aggressor in the matchup.
Yeah, it's so different, and I feel like once you do have that Dark Swarm up, and once you have Ultras, the matchup changes so radically, and you don't really... You're still on a defensive at first, but after that you can start to turn the tide once you have that 4 gas up especially, and if you manage to get a 5th gas, then all you have to do is defend that, and that's basically your win condition. But versus Mech, it's so different. And this is actually one thing that I find a little bit of a shame about TVP, that you don't have this... Bio is not viable in TVP, which would be kind of interesting if it was, because it would be such a different matchup as well.
Well, in TVP, you kind of have the Protoss is kind of dictating that, because they can either go for like a very mass gateway man, or they can go for carriers, or they can go for the arbiter play. And as a Terran, you really need different responses, similar to how as the Zerg you need different responses depending on what style the Terran is going for.
Yeah, it's of course there's that interesting attack that you can do as Terran, where you just make a bunch of Marines and kill the Protoss, and like a bio rush type thing. We don't see it that much, but I always think it's very spectacular to see.
Do you mean the FD or the one where they actually research Stim and push?
Oh, actually, with Stim, that's the most impressive one, I think. Stim and medics, and I remember there was actually an...
build.
Oh, is that what it's? I don't actually know what it's called, but
Are you talking about the TVP where they get just 1 barracks worth of Marine and medics and Stim?
Yeah, I'm not sure if it is 1 barracks, but it's some kind of rush.
Sometimes, like, if they really commit to it, they get 2 or 3 barracks, and they try to disguise it.
Yes.
Production from only a single barracks, but it's a very technical build, and if it gets counted, basically it will be held, and if it gets held, the Terran loses the game automatically. There is no comeback from this. So that is the reason why we don't really see it often, because it's all in, but it's BVS type of all in. If it fails, you lose.
There's a Super Cheese one where they make 4 proxy barracks after opening 1 factory.
Oh yeah.
Alright, so we have spawning in the top, it's the orange Terran, Svar 3. And his opponent, the bottom right, none other than the Teal Zerg, Mr. C3. Very similar
C3.
name, these two players.
Censured.
Alright, so what's your predictions for this game?
Predictions? Well, that's hard to say. I think Sva 3 looked just slightly too strong for C3.
This match has been sponsored by Crest Toothpaste, the #1 dentist recommended brand.
Sva 3 does feel like really strong mechanical turn.
Yeah, it did seem like a bit of a mechanical difference between the two players. I was a bit let down by the lack of sunken defense from the Zerg and falling that easily, especially not evacuating the natural. It was a bit unfortunate.
But I feel the last game, the main thing was just C3 going for the... or trying to mind games Sva 3. And that's why all of his tech was kind of delayed, which didn't really work well for him.
Yeah, I'm not a big fan of that like double tech mind game stuff. I think it works only well against really good players and when you can execute it really well. I don't think it's advisable for lower ranked players. I think the higher skill level you get, the more you need to worry about mind games.
Dada Y2 bitch.
That is an interesting SimCity that Sva 3 is going for at the natural. I don't think that between the supply and the racks is linked tight actually.
I think it's linked tight. That looks linked tight to me.
Oh yeah. Actually,
It's time to turn off the TTS redemption on my channel. People were starting to turn this into an Artosis stream.
We've got a bit of an interesting anomaly from the Zerg. He's getting gas way before his pool. I'm curious to see what he's gonna follow this up with. There's a drone just chilling at his natural as well.
That's interesting. Oh, there's the pool. But yeah, that's a very quick gas.
Extremely quick gas. He's mining gas before even 2 minutes 30. It's very, very fast.
Oh, and there's a marine move out.
Yeah, well, he doesn't see any pool, so you can just walk across the map for free and kill drones.
Yeah, exactly. It makes perfect sense.
I teach all my Terran students this, is that you check for lings, and if you don't see lings, you move across the map with Marines. And then if you see the lings with those SCVs, you just pull the Marines back. And if you don't see lings, you can just commit to a bunker rush, or you can just kill drones with Marines. It's really good.
Yeah, that bunker rush seems like, especially with the 3 SCVs, 4 SCVs now, the bunker is like complete.
Yeah, this is an opportunistic bunker rush, just because there was such a late pool. I really don't understand why you went for the gas before the pool like that. You just lose to any early rats. Yeah, GG, unfortunately.
Ooh, that was a quick game.
That was a very quick win, yeah.
Yeah, you can't go that late. There are if you're really confident with your drone micro, you can maybe do stuff like that, but it's not advisable.
I mean, on a map like this with such a tight choke, he possibly could have defended with drones, but he needed much better scouting.
Well, the problem is that he only needs to kill a few drones to be ahead as well. It's not like he's like making a super fast barracks as well, so he's got a strong economy behind that as well as killing drones. It's really nice for the Terran either way.
Yeah, that was a strange one. And it also ends the series, actually. That was a very quick end to it.
Yeah, very quick.
Yeah, two very quick games. And
so, guys, Tesagi confirmed?
Yeah, Terran victories all the way.
Yeah, I mean...
EskiyaPRIME and Sva 3 taking up both Goose and Censured, unfortunately.
And they are the most picked race in CPL, apparently.
Well, don't tell Artosis it doesn't fit the narrative.
Well, we actually have like basically all the top players in CPL are Terrans. Almost all of them.
8 out of the top 10 are Terrans.
Yeah, and it would have been 9. Wait, it's actually 8, and it would have been 7, I think, if Doodle was still Protoss, right? Because he switched to Terran.
Yeah, that's correct.
Yeah. So, wow.
Yeah, XUN definitely needs to become a player.
Oh.
Yeah. You need to help us out, man. You need to balance things out. Yeah. Yeah,
I
it's
can't help your team out. I'm on a Taurus SUV.
Oh, that's right. Yeah, you are. Yeah, you used to be part of my team last
we were.
season. So.
Yeah, we were on team.
Was actually fun. Was actually fun to learn, especially learn CPC with you. I remember we had a couple of practice sessions.
Yeah, we did.
But we have Yenta now, and Yenta's pretty good.
Yeah, Yenta's pretty good.
No, Yenta's a noob.
Whoa.
You heard it here first.
Are you fishing for a show match or something, Y2? You're getting cocky after getting third place in the CSL.
Low. I would fish out for a show match, but Yenta just dodges me every single time.
Is that
impossible?
Is that it?
Yeah.
Is that it? Okay.
Well, he's too scared now because I'm winning too much.
Well, I've been looking for an excuse to reuse the stream graphics I made for the other show match, so...
There we go.
I should set something up. Would be fun to do.
You should make Yenta, you should force him to play me.
Yeah. Yeah, we will have to see about that. Guys, I actually think that since the stream moved over to my channel, I guess I'm the host of this stream now instead of Y2, so... I guess it's up to me to say thanks all for watching, and been fun. It's been 2 completely different matches, even though they were both TVZs. And yeah, well played by the winners. And yeah, thanks everyone for watching, and I think we will end it here. You got anything left to say, Zune or Y2? Any shout-outs?
Shout out to Love Snow for being a drunkard.
Okay.
Shout out to Yenta for dodging me all the time.
Okay. Well,
yeah,
thanks everyone.
I think with that, we're at a good place and we can end it.
Yes.
I see Vodi streaming. You can possibly keep rating the coaches.
That sounds like a good idea. I'm gonna rate someone. Body. Okay. Yeah, let's do that. Thanks for watching, everyone.
Thanks
Goodbye.
for watching, guys.
More circlings.